All right, welcome everyone to another video podcast for the Georgia Track and Field and Cross Country Coaching Collective. I'm Andy Christie, and today I'm happy to be joined by Holly Barron of Alpharetta High School. And just to give, want to actually let Coach Barron have a chance to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about how she ended up at Alpharetta and in this coaching profession. So Coach Barron, kick things off for us.
Thank you for having me today. This is my 7th year coaching at Alpharetta. I began as an assistant with cross country and moved my way into head girls, and then now I'm head over the whole program as of this past year, which has been an interesting but really fun transition, especially with coaching most of them in track and getting to work with AJ Marine in track for the past 3 seasons. It's been really amazing and learning the sprint world and seeing how our workouts kind of go together. But yeah, and been in Georgia all my life. Went to Jefferson High School, Kennesaw State afterwards, and then landed at Alpharetta.
So I'm guessing you ran at Jefferson High School.
Mm-hmm.
And how was your high school running experience?
It was great. It was fun. It was definitely more of a community. I like the cross country community versus actually running cross country until probably my senior year. And just a lot of developmental issues, but loved track and field and the 4x4 and things. And back then we hosted state for boys there. And so getting the experience of being a volunteer at the state meet was a really cool experience. So did not run in college. Kind of just wanted to run and find the fun in it again. And now I have again, even with coaching. So
Awesome. Two side notes about Jefferson. I always remember the finish line being a little different placement wise because it was closer to like the middle, which I know you're very familiar with running on that track. And then two, I always loved going to the Iron Pig barbecue restaurant down the road.
Oh yeah, yep,
I
yep.
miss that about
Mhm.
Haveth State, among other things, of course. But
Yeah. Well, not the parking. The parking was awful.
yes, yeah, that was a challenge.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so then, just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, how did you, if you didn't run in college, kind of took some time away, but then got back into it? How did you end up wanting to be a coach and coaching now?
Wanting to get back into running, but the coaching aspect of making or like being a part of their journey of falling in love with the sport, and like I said, community was such a big piece to why I did cross country. And so and I think with teaching, I think it's challenging to be a teacher and not find your niche at school. And so I took my first year of like, let me get the hang of this without overwhelming myself. And it was like, how can I get involved in this school and feel like I'm more rooted? Because Jefferson's a very hometown kind of vibe, and Alfred, all these big schools, like you have to find your niche to feel a part of the school. I think just because it isn't as like central, like this is the school you go to, and everyone in the communities around it. Um, so then I was like, well, I love running. I would love to learn coaching, because teaching is one thing and the mentoring piece there, but coaching, you build such personal relationships with them of like, okay, well, we need to work on this and build your mindset up. And it's a lot more intricate. That's the word, intricate and fun. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Um, part of what we're trying to do with the coaching collective is encourage coaches to talk to each other and get ideas and collaborate. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today is because I noticed before I even got to know you, really, just the social media posts and the things that I noticed you were putting out for your team. I was like, here's a coach who is doing an awesome job with their team. I could just tell based on what I was seeing online. I was like, I want to talk to this coach and hear her thoughts and so I'm glad you mentioned the community. I'm glad you mentioned just kind of get to know people and their thoughts. Let's transition a little bit to some things that you've noticed this season in terms of outstanding performances, whether it's an individual or a team. Because here we are, in the middle of September. What are some things you've noticed this season?
Well, from a team aspect, I haven't seen it, but I'm excited to see it. The West Forsyth boys, I think it was like low 16s, like five of them. It was all really, really close. And I'm excited to watch that and see just like a herd. That's always so fun, you know? And then Malachi Burnett from Creekview, watching him at Carrollton, just I find it fun and inspiring and just what is going through their minds when they're pretty much in the lead or they're separated out by themselves the entire race. Like, I think that takes such a mental capacity. And so that was fun to watch at Carrollton. And I just looked at Warpath yesterday and he ended up first. So he's won every single race he's raced this season, which that's a lot of pressure, I'm sure. And then Paige Comstock, so Riley's little sister from Harrison's a freshman, and she was at Stars Mill and watching her press coming down, going to the lake for that last time. And at that race that Saturday, I don't know if y'all raced Labor Day weekend this year. As soon as that sun came up above those trees, it was air thick. You knew it was August in Georgia kind of racing. And she just pressed on and finished with a beautiful fight to the finish. So that was fun to see out of a freshman too.
Yeah,
What about you?
absolutely. Yeah, Malachi. I mean, our team was there at
Mhm.
Carrollton, so seeing him run that 15:37 was pretty impressive. And I looked up, just his past performances, and he was a good runner already, but he's certainly made a leap. 16-17 at state last year for third in 6A, and so yeah, whatever he did this summer, he's taken himself to a new level. In terms of girls, Zahara Bernal from Pace, blitzing 18:10 at Carrollton, and then yesterday she broke 18 at Warpath.
Mm.
Yeah, just really impressive performances by her so far. Team wise, yeah, the amount of depth that West Forsyth has this year is really impressive on the boys side, and a very small pack. Um, Looks like there's going to be quite a dogfight in now 6A for the boys, because Harrison has done well at Stars Mill and Southern Showcase, but then Denmark boys beat them at Hoya, the 2 mile race. But then I think West Forsyth was about 30 points behind Harrison yesterday. So anyway, 3 teams duking it out on the boys side,
Yeah.
in 6A now. What about girls teams? For me, Marietta at Carrollton was kind of, I mean, Marietta, like we say on this often, Marietta doing Marietta things.
Mhm.
They're always going to be good. And then Marist and Harrison were 1-2 at Stars Mill. So that
I
was very
think the Pope
game.
girls.
Yes,
I don't know if you followed them. I
yes.
saw that Cobb County championships got rescheduled. I
Tomorrow,
think
yeah,
tomorrow. Okay, so
yeah,
I was like looking at the county championships and I was like, oh man, like where are they at? Like, because it's just, I mean, they Josie and Aslan have pulled out from track, and now they have all these other girls following, and I think that's beautiful to see because I think in girl sports right now, it's the numbers are getting lower, and to have girls just challenging girls and seeing the dreams of like podium and things, and so the Pope girls have been very impressive, I think, as
yeah,
well.
absolutely, yeah. Coach Monk over there at Pope is doing an awesome job as always. And yeah, I noticed those girls up near the front at Carrollton, and
Mhm.
yeah, they're super impressive. Speaking of the county championships yesterday, North Gwinnett girls ran great to win the Gwinnett championship, putting 5 in the top 12. Brookwood boys won a tight finish over North Gwinnett.
Hmm.
A couple of points in Gwinnett. So yeah, all kinds of impressive
Mhm.
performances. But what's interesting is with state being a week later, we've still got quite a ways to go. It's not until
Mhm.
November 9th. So I'm sure that's something you've impressed upon your team. I know I've talked to my team about it as well, that it's September, but we've got a little bit to go.
Yeah, there's more work to do, and I think one of the challenging things that they don't realize yet, and I'm sure you've thought about it, is the sectionals not having JV. Okay, well,
Yeah.
you have your roster of 12. You want them to have their best chance at whatever race you do the weekend before sectionals. So we're doing JV Region Madness. Harrison's hosting at Alatoona Creek Park, and it's like, okay, well, some of those might end up like if we qualify for state, like could race state, and then building their like loads and deloads, is challenging. Um, but yeah, a lot of work still to do, I think.
Yeah, that has thrown a wrinkle in things, not having the kind of JV region traditional race. I know our region and some other regions are doing a 2 mile on the track after the Wednesday after Coach Wood, and to let them take advantage of cross country shape, but give a preview
Mhm.
of track. So yeah, different. It's interesting the different approaches.
And from
Um,
a recruiting point, that's a great like thing to do. Um, you know, lay it out, see where you're at,
mhm,
see the progression to spring.
yeah. Now, I did want to give a shout out in particular to your top girl, Lydia LaFaro. Am I saying that correctly?
Hmm.
She ran 1920 for second place in the 4A, 5A, 6A race at Carrollton.
Hmm. Hmm.
1909 at Stars Mill for seventh. Um, Anything you want to, give a shout out to Lydia for?
She's, I mean, I'm excited. So we're racing Wingfoot this weekend, and she's going to race in the championship race. And I think it'll be exciting to see what she can do with a bunch of girls around the same area, because it's one thing to, at our opener at Appalachia, she was by herself after the first mile. So,
Yeah,
and then Stars Mill was Stars Mill. And then to come back with the mindset of not waiting to go. I think that was my biggest shout out to her is at Carrollton, she was like, I just felt really good. I found some energy and, maybe I should have saved it, coach. And I said, no, no, no. Like we can tailor up the last half mile. But if we don't know what part it is that we're hitting that wall, then like we can't fix anything. And so she got passed in the last uphill to the downhill at Carrollton, yeah,
yeah.
by the Rome Elise girl. So,
Mm.
but progress, it's a very huge improvement from Stars Mill of mindset and everything, and I think that's the biggest win right now for
Yeah.
her. And you had a county champ yesterday, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
I was going to mention
yeah.
that, but thank
Congrats.
you. Appreciate it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, all right. Now, you mentioned the number of girls, you mentioned kind of girls' sports in general. So that's a good segue into what I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about next, which is um, coaching females, and maybe some of the things we've noticed recently. I've most of my career I coached just boys only in Gwinnett. That was kind of the focus, and there's been a shift, thankfully, and over the last few years. So for the last 6 years, I've coached both genders. But yeah, the numbers have concerned me going down. I've noticed that too, and I've asked other coaches, and it's hear the same thing, and not just cross country, but just in
Mhm.
general. Like I've talked to
Mhm.
coaches at Mill Creek, but in other counties. Any thoughts on? Do you think this is a COVID related issue? Do you think it's deeper than that?
I I hope it's a COVID like related issue, and it's not just in Georgia. I feel like it's everywhere, and I don't know exactly why. and then but then you have programs. I mean, you see middle school feeder teams, and they have a slew of girls. So it where's the disconnect almost of why are these middle school teams, they still have a ton of girls, but
Mhm.
where's the bridge? I know um, some of them, I don't know how Mill Creek is, but some of them come into high school and they're like at Alpharetta, oh, Alpharetta is academically rigorously challenging, and they get a little nervous about balancing it all. And um, so I don't know. I hope it, obviously, I hope it changes and more girls.
Get involved somehow.
Yeah, yeah, and now with flag football being, and I'm not saying those girls would necessarily run cross country, but it's now in the fall, so there's um, another fall sport that's female based, because we're up against what, volleyball, softball, cheer, and we do dual sport athletes. So our number two girl is a varsity Siland football cheerleader, and Lydia was last year a swimmer and a club soccer girl while running cross. So it's also awareness, and I feel like, oh, these are dual sport athletes and things. I think that might help, get those club soccer kids maybe.
Yeah.
And just, and then once you're out there with the team, you fall in love with it. You fall in love with maybe not the racing sometimes, but you fall in love with the team culture and the team community you have. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, lots to kind of think about. I think, yeah, there's the club soccer
Mhm.
that we're competing against, as well as all the other school sports that you mentioned, which is tough. There's the COVID effect, which I think some teams are maybe starting to bounce back from in terms
Mhm.
of, I mean, there were some years there where just rosters were cut in half from what they had been
Mhm.
previously. And I know some schools' numbers are starting to go up. But then, yeah, I have a fellow coach who mentioned to me they wonder about like something as simple as kids not running around outside as much as maybe previous generations, because whether it's the rise of social media or just
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, just not being as active from a young age as
That's true.
previous generations. So I'm not sure.
And even with the social media aspect, a lot of times I feel like they might limit themselves of like, oh, well, like that person's running cross country and they like look like that, or they run that fast. Like I don't fit that. I don't look like that. I don't run. I don't even know if I can run 3 miles. And it's like almost, how can we social medialize like um the
And
growth
anybody
that
can run.
happens. Yeah, like anyone can run.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. We've had a previous podcast about athlete anxiety and how it's gone up,
Mhm.
whether it's COVID or just in general. And yeah, I think you're right that sometimes they compare themselves to, oh, I can't do that, or like you said, I don't look like XYZ, and
Mhm.
that's why um and their names are escaping me at the moment. But I love the professional female runners who talk about body positivity, and it takes all there's all kinds of body types and that are out there competing, and it's not just a one size fits all sport. That as long as our sport is a one that rewards consistency and dedication, hard work, all that stuff. Um,
Mhm.
so if we can somehow, like you said, kind of get them out of the mindset of I have to fit a certain mold, then maybe that'll
Mhm.
help. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that kind of ties in, or at least transitions us to female coaches, because I mentioned Kathy Monk earlier, who's been kind of in
Mhm.
Georgia, one of the leading female coaches, has done an amazing job at Pope. Um, and we've seen an increase in female coaches around the state. Um, I want to hear your thoughts on, I mean, obviously I know you would love to see even more females leading programs now that you're in charge of both. That's exciting for you.
Mhm.
I guess this is a two-part question. Just what are your thoughts on the state of things now? And then what do you think needs to happen for even more females to kind of take charge of programs?
Hmm.
Sorry, I know that's a
Um,
big question.
um, I mean, it's definitely noticeable, not necessarily in cross as much, but in track. Um, it's it's heavily male dominated. Um, but it, I mean, you know how it's they say like with teachers and like your school environment and the teachers you want to represent kind of like your um, school, what is it called, logistics, like student breakdown. And
Yeah,
I think that's also something like in sports you want to see, right? So with cross, seeing your coach be a woman and being, I can't run the boys' paces at all, but, I'll get on my little electric scooter and I will go with you. But um, seeing, that could be me one day. I think that's a cool aspect to all of it. As far as getting more women coaches, I think I think community coaches letting your community know because there's tons of runners out there, and getting them involved somehow, from run clubs and things. Um, but I don't know the magic answer for how to get more women involved to coach. There are opportunities, I will say that, and it's rewarding and a very special experience. But I don't have an end all be all answer for that.
I think hopefully, like we talked about earlier, if we get more girls involved in the sport, then that's going to naturally happen as they have a great experience, hopefully, and then awesome coaches like you, and that maybe they get inspired and move on and become a coach themselves. Do you have any kind of female coaches that you respect in the state or your county or area?
I can't remember her name, but the blonde Roswell coach of I think Christian is her son.
Yes.
I ran into her at Whole Foods this summer, and we got chatting. We're very similar with like our. It's hard for us sometimes to connect to the girls because we are so competitively driven, and so learning ways to, you know, grow some of the team members' competitiveness. That was a really fun conversation. But I went to the Wildwood Running Clinic out in Portland last year
Yes.
in December, and I mean, there were men coaches in there and everything because like we all coach female runners, right? And and just the conversations and learning from all of them. I think two of them came to Boulder, and talked there, and that was really
Yes.
cool. And that's just I mean, Portland's just such a special running community, and to like get the opportunity to have conversations with them and hear from them, and successful even men coaches over female athletes and hearing their perspective to it and all was really cool. So definitely all of the coaches out there, and
Yeah.
still being able to call them and be like, I, I'm stuck. Let me, and we just walk through it and they have given me ideas of what to try out and things. So that's been really cool.
Yeah. Coach Jimenez of
Yes.
Roswell. That's
Yes.
who we were
Yes.
thinking of. Yes. Yeah. Great coach. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the the Wildwood running. If people don't know about that, highly encourage you to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I heard them at Boulder where you and I ran into each other, which was pretty cool to just look up and see another Georgia coach out there
Mm-hmm.
in Boulder. Um, but yeah, they have a lot of great resources
Mm-hmm.
about coaching female runners. In fact, they have a graphic that is amazing that you can find on their website that talks all about just the kind of the big issues like diet and health, just
Mm-hmm.
overall. that's great. I pushed that out to my girls team, and already got some good feedback from their parents and the runners about
Yeah,
that.
and so those are Stanford Faster, FASTR graphics, and you can just Google that. And then
Oh,
they
cool.
have graphics for like when I have my girls or even guys, but they're more geared towards female runners, right? And they go get their ferritin levels checked. And, doctors might not be in the running world and have their
Yes.
own thing with numbers and things. And so I literally give them the graphic to take in of like, okay, well, if they say this number, this is what this means for me. But they're great graphics. We include them in our team handbook we do now.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah. So it's a great information, and I think it's helped lead into the conversation of fueling and how important that is, um, and it's been great to see the transition over the past, what did I say, 7 years? So 7 years of now, like the girls aren't passing out at practice, the boys aren't either, and
Right.
realizing that like if you're not fueling, you're hurting yourself for now and for later in life, and building the strength and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's my little 2 cents on fueling, but
Awesome. I'll also give a shout out to Diljit Taylor from BYU, who I
yeah,
love. I think she's an
yep.
amazing coach. And yeah, follow what she puts on social media. I'd listen to any podcast she's on or read any interviews. In fact, I kind of had a fanboy moment when I went out to Oregon a couple summers ago, and she was at the t-shirt stand, and I probably said something like, "Oh, you're great" or something ridiculous. But
Yeah,
I'm a fan. But
yeah.
I mean, she coaches only females, but she's just a good coach, period. I mean, she's
Mhm.
just amazing.
Yeah,
And
she talked at Wildwood last year.
oh, I'm
Um,
jealous.
yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah.
So
And clearly I mean, BYU's had so much success, and now she had what, two Olympians, I think, this summer.
mhm.
So yeah,
She started her own pro team with
yes,
like her BYU graduates. Yeah.
absolutely. All right, to wrap things up, I just wanted to hear your favorite parts of coaching. What is it that gets you excited about going to practice and to the meets?
Oh, a lot of it's from a developmental aspect. Seeing them get those like personal wins, not necessarily time based. Um, like for example, number 2 girl this week, Thursday, came back from a run. She was like, "Coach, I'm sorry I was gone longer." And I was like, "You're good, but like what happened?" And she was like, "I wasn't feeling good on my run, and then I turned to head back, and then I just started hitting a groove, and I don't know what happened. And I just felt good, and I just kept going." And I was like, "Well, that's called a runner's high. Like, congrats." She was like, "That's never happened before." And I was like, "This is awesome." So that like just small wins, even something like that, or like standing. It's happened more this past week. I don't know what happened this past week, but standing after a workout or in the middle of a workout and just like watching them and watching how they're interacting, and it just like for some reason it's going so smoothly and it's great, and you're just like, I get to do this for fun. Like this is so fun. Um, and so personal wins, and then just seeing how they develop over the years, like even in leadership, um, whether they're in a leadership position, but they're all elders. If once they become juniors and seniors, that's what we call them, and seeing how their energy is like feeding into the young ones. Yesterday was a huge win for us. The way they work together and things, and it's fun. And even like the days where you leave a workout and you're like, what just happened? Like, I I got to make this better somehow. Like something went wrong. I need to figure it out. Even the challenges like that, or okay, well, what's not clicking in their race? How can we work on visualization or something, their relationship with the race, and getting to figure out all those intricate things, I think is what a huge favorite part as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love I love hearing from other passionate people about the things that just get us excited, and even Like you said, the little things like so-and-so's workout, they improved however much they wanted to, or they felt
Mhm,
better, or they had that runner's high.
mhm.
It's so much more than just did they run a PR?
Yeah, I try not to. I think times are have to be noted, right? And but I think the what we're working with right now and trying to get them to focus more on is like the where is your mind going? Where when is it having to go to the well and things and getting them ready for the once they're feeling fresh and it's fall weather,
Yes.
racing and just like quote unquote like win the weight, just like trust the process, win the weight, it's coming.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean we can't have fun along the way because this is too hard not to have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Love all that. Control what you can control. Don't worry about so and so improve more than me, or it's hot. Yeah, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, we don't look at rankings. We look at year to year of like, okay, well, what did we do differently this year at this point, and look at where we are now. But we don't look at rankings, and they know I'll find out somehow through the grapevine that they've been like trying to get on Mile Split and looking. Um, but we talk more so about like how people race. Some teams definitely like evenly pace almost, and we talk about is that something that y'all want to do? And so far, that's not what they want to do, but
Yeah.
maybe we need to try it.
Yeah, to each his own. I mean, there's so many different ways. That's what's great about this is, as you know, there's so many different approaches, and
Mhm,
coaches that live and by certain things, and others that take totally different approaches.
mhm.
And I've over my career, I've learned that too. Things that I used to hold on real tight to, I'm like, I can be a little more flexible with that now. Um,
Yeah, and
like you,
even how we do workouts and do the builds and stuff, I feel like in some ways it's so similar, right? In cross, you can't get away from mileage and things, but I think, you know, we we have Webbridge Park nearby, but a lot of our kids are younger, so we're stuck on the track. And so, we're doing a lot more track stuff right now than getting out on a trail and things. So it's interesting to see how, yeah, we're all probably doing 1Ks and 2Ks and thresholds and stuff, but how we do it to fit our numbers, fit our little groups and like where we're at in location wise. I think that's like one of the funnest conversations I feel like we all could have with Georgia coaches is like, okay, well, this is your dynamic at the school. Like, how do you make it work? Um, but it's finding all the people that would be willing to have those conversations, which I think
yes,
is becoming more and more of a thing here.
good, good.
Of
Yeah, I certainly hope
coaches,
so. Yeah.
yeah, because 10 years ago I wouldn't have said that probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Let's keep it going. I hope we have
yeah, yeah,
even more
yeah. Right.
dialogue
I
and
mean, we're
discussion.
getting faster as Georgia, so I think it's
Yeah.
only making us better.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for this. This was awesome. Loved hearing your thoughts on all these things, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.